Hey, what's up? So you might have heard the news if you've been hanging around Stardew Valley fans or keeping an eye on Nintendo Switch 2 stuff, but there's a fresh update that's just gone live for Stardew Valley, Nintendo Switch 2 edition. And it's one of those patches that makes you realize just how much love and care goes into this game, even years after its initial release. What's wild is how this version of Stardew Valley landed on the Switch 2 system around the holidays, and it brought with it a bunch of really cool features like proper mouse controls, expanded multiplayer options, and GameShare support that lets you bring friends into your world without everyone needing a copy of the game. All of that was already a big deal when the upgrade dropped, but like any big update, there were a few things that needed smoothing out, and that's exactly what this new patch focuses on. First up, and probably the most talked about part of this patch, is the fix for a crafting bug that had a lot of players scratching their heads and feeling a bit uneasy. There was an issue where, in certain cases, crafting some items could inadvertently take the wrong ingredients out of your inventory. It's the kind of thing that can be super frustrating when you're midway through building something or trying to finish up a bundle and suddenly something vanishes that it shouldn't have. Thankfully, that's been fixed. So now your crafting workflow should feel a lot more predictable and safe. There's no more mystery disappearing ingredients, which is a massive relief if you've ever had to double check your inventory after crafting something that should have been straightforward. Beyond that, the developers also touched up the mouse mode on Switch 2. This was always one of the big talking points with the Switch 2 version because Stardew Valley originally wasn't designed for a mouse on console, and suddenly having that precision could feel a bit awkward or intrusive for some players. So the team has now improved how mouse mode performs, and they've even added the option to turn it off entirely if you prefer to stick with the traditional control scheme. That might seem like a small thing, but for a lot of people it's about comfort and choice. If you're someone who loves the analog feel of your Joy-Cons or Pro Controller, having the ability to disable mouse input makes the whole experience feel more cohesive and tailored to how you like to play. Another part of this update that's pretty important, especially if you like to play with friends, is a fix that addresses some graphics corruption issues when using Switch 2's GameShare feature. GameShare is one of those killer features that lets you essentially hand off part of your screen to friends so they can join in without having to own the game themselves. It's a super generous way to handle couch co-op, but you don't want weird visual glitches popping up when you're sharing the adventure. So those graphical quirks are now sorted out, meaning smoother visuals and less distraction when you're trying to farm, fish, or just hang out at the community center together. Speaking of playing together, the update also makes sure that if there's something like a network maintenance notice to show up when you're getting ready for co-op, it will now appear properly. That's more of a behind-the-scenes kind of fix, but anyone who's ever tried to start a session only to be confused by missing messages or weird connection behavior knows how handy it is to have these little quality of life improvements. Being informed when there's scheduled downtime or a maintenance window can save you a lot of head scratching. And lastly, the update makes sure that parental controls are respected when someone is joining a GameShare session. This is one of those touches that feels really considerate, especially for families where kids might be playing and parents want to make sure their settings are enforced consistently across all the ways the game can be accessed. Ensuring those controls are obeyed, even in shared or co-op modes, just brings that peace of mind that everything functions the way you expect it to, no matter what mode you're playing in. What's really awesome about this whole situation is seeing how the developer, known affectionately by fans as Concerned Ape, continues to iterate and refine Stardew Valley so long after its original release. This isn't just a one-and-done kind of title, it's a living, evolving world that keeps getting better over time. Whether that's through major updates that add new content, or smaller patches like this one that make sure the experience is stable and enjoyable for everyone on whatever platform they're playing on. For fans on the Nintendo Switch 2 platform, this patch is a reassuring sign that the port isn't just a momentary release, but something that's being actively supported and improved. And if you think about it, that kind of ongoing attention is part of what keeps the Stardew Valley community so vibrant. People are always sharing stories about their farms, their co-op escapades, the weird things that happen when you leave your game running too long, and even the little bugs that creep up from time to time. The developer's responsiveness to these issues is part of what makes this game feel so personal and cared for. And it's one of the reasons why players keep coming back again and again. At the end of the day, this patch doesn't overhaul the game or reinvent anything. But what it does do is make sure that the experience you've invested time in is a little smoother, a little more polished, and a lot more reliable. Whether you're tinkering with your farm layout, heading out for a day of fishing, or teaming up with friends in multiplayer, these behind-the-scenes fixes help keep everything running just right. And if you haven't checked it out yet, now's as good a time as any to jump back in and see how things feel with these improvements in place.